Well, good afternoon, all. I want to welcome you to today's presentation from Karen Okulicz, author of K-Slaw Incorporated, who will present to us a survival guide to unemployment. Thanks again to our wonderful sponsors who have been with us through thick and thin. Even though we went from live to a virtual conference, they've all stayed with us, and we are indebted to them for their great support. Some housekeeping rules in CETI. Every session, to include this one, will be recorded. The links for the files of the presentation and the recordings will be made available after this session. Attendees that are joining will automatically be muted when joining. Please feel free to use the chat box located in the lower navigation bar for all questions, and we'll get to your questions at the end of the session. If for any reason there are any unanswered questions, we'll have responses for all those when we send out the recording with the PDF file for the presentations. Also, please feel free to post on social media using our hashtag CETI2020, as well as joining our LinkedIn CETI group. We think that you'll find the camaraderie there for education and business leaders to be worth the time and adventure. So, without further ado, I want to introduce our speaker, Karen Okulicz. She is the author and owner of K-Slaw Incorporated. She is also the author of 4 books that are utilized in workforce development. Try, a survival guide to unemployment. Decide, how to make any decision. Attitude, for your best lived life. And Stand, choosing to be self-reliant. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Karen Okulicz. Miss Karen.
To be a part of this conference, the CETI conference. It's great, and I am ready to get started. Okay, slide please. All right, slide please. Okay, I just want to do my own housekeeping to let you know that I will be choosing some names from the list of the attendees, and I'll be sending out probably about 25 sets of books. So in about the end of this week, I will email you and let you know that you have a winner of the books. But even if you are a winner, know that you can also ask for an additional set if you want someone to review within your staff. That's okay too, okay? And that offering will be coming out in a couple of weeks. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, well, here we go. First poll question. Are you a worrier? Can you, yes or no? Are you a worrier? I also want to say hi to everyone that's here, family, friends, clients, prospects. Big hug. I can't wait to, see you in person again, but, that will happen. That will happen. And for those of you who I've never met or are new to my work, big hug to you too. All righty. Oh boy, 73%, you're in the right place. You've come to the right place today. All righty, and 27, no. Well, good for you, but good for you, 73%. I'm going to be very helpful. Next slide, please. Okay. A couple of years ago, I did a big keynote about don't miss the magic, stop the worrying. And I believe right now, if you are unemployed or looking to even to change your position, and with everything we've been through of late, one of the things that stops us from seeing the magic is worrying and not being present. So here we have the definition of Webster's dictionary. What worry is bad, troubled state of mind, be anxious or uneasy. Definition of magic is the is one is mysteriously enchanted, well, which is our choice. But I'd like to stay here for a moment because I want you to hear what my definition of magic is. And this is what we want to help us go forward. Magic to me is that surprise phone call, that unexpected meeting. You go to the grocery store, of course, we have the masks on, and you see someone and they say, oh, you know who's hiring? You really didn't know that person well, and they give you maybe a lead to someplace you want to look into if you're unemployed, or if you even if you want to change what you're doing. And then out of the blue, an email comes and wants to know what you're doing and if you're available. Again, that's a surprise phone call. And let me stop right here because over 20 years ago, when I first wrote my first book, that came from one single phone call. I was unemployed twice in 3 years, and in the second unemployment, I knew better how to look for work. I was a lot more aggressive on what I wanted to do and how to go about it, but I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And this woman calls me out of the blue. I didn't really know her well, and she said, Karen, I used to watch you talk about how to put a day together because I had been unemployed before others were unemployed, and how to go about your day, how to set your schedule, how to take good care of yourself. She said, we're laying off some people. Could you come and speak to these people? And I said, well, I've never done that before, but I guess I could try. And try, huh? So I started. And I never did go to speak to that group, but I started to write things down. Now, again, I believe magic is coincidence, serendipity, chance meetings. That one phone call, I started to put the first book together. That summer, I live in a beach town. That summer, the man that lived next to me was an editor. You put the two together. And as they say, the rest is history. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, we have a couple of types of worries, and we all know we have long-term worries, we have short-term worries, and what I would like you to do right now, that's 73%, because we're going to help you with this. I would like you to write down one worry that you have right now. Just write it down. We're going to put it on the side. We're going to use that in the next segment. All right, let me give you some examples of short-term worries and long-term worries from my side, all right, from my work. And these are usually, my worries usually were in work related. So the short-term worry, if you are in a, like we are in the workforce development field, what you want to do is you want to go to a conference and you want to learn, like we're all going to learn today, lots of new things. Well, for me, in the very beginning, with one book out, it was going to a authors conference. And there was a special conference to just new authors. So I said, well, I am one, so I better go. So I go to this conference, and one of the conference workshops was how to be the best speaker. So I thought, oh, I guess I need to do that. So I sign up, and I'm sitting there, and the speaker comes out, and she has, it's a small room, 2 big screens come down, and now we see 3 of her. And then she stands up onto the special round podium, and she gets up with the jet set mic on her head, which I never saw before, and she starts to tell us new authors, and she'd always begin everything, you new authors should, you new authors shouldn't, and she starts to tell us what kind of speakers we should be. And now as I see it, and I look in the past, that she must have been having a bad day. Not one thing out of this woman's mouth was positive. I couldn't believe it. So, but I was new, I was very impressionable. I thought, okay, this woman is the expert. I'm not the expert. I haven't done any of this yet. So she starts to, don't do this, stand this way, wear your hair like this. You have, my heels are high, that gives me some height. Now, I was still way over heels back then. So I'm like, okay, and that's a special podium. And then she says the worst thing that I could ever hear. She said, whatever you do, do not use notes. I thought, Now, I was a much younger Karen, but I thought, I don't need notes then, and I surely need notes now, and I have lots of notes around me right now, because I don't want to forget. I don't want to lose my track of thought. I want to make sure I give you all the information I've written down. No notes. So she ended her session. I was exhausted by the negativity, which does exhaust us, right? I was, and the screens go away. They take the special podium, they put that away. She's off, and then we wait for the keynote speaker. Now, this man who was there to teach us about how to market books, he was one of the founders and an incredible marketer, and he was part of the Chicken Soul books, Chicken Soul of the boots, so it's Chicken Soul of the dogs, Chicken Soul of the cats, of your kids or your family. I mean, it went on and on and on. So here he comes out. He's casually dressed, no heels, but we didn't expect that. He doesn't get on any special podium. He goes up to a little table, little mic on the table, and then he puts his hands in his pockets and he brings out 3x5 cards. The man who was the genius had notes. That's it. 20 minutes. That's it. I can do this. I could be a speaker. I can go forward. Short-term memory, short-term worry. Let's go on to a long-term worry. Another one that has to do with work. So there were a couple of years, and we all have had them, where you're just very busy with family and work takes a kind of a backseat and you're just going along. And during that time, I think I probably had 2 books out. I would receive a 4-colored brochure from a competitor. Now, no matter what you do or who you are, you have competition. And I would receive this brochure and see it and say, oh my goodness, I should be doing this. This is so beautiful. This is, I must get to this. Couldn't get to it. I was so busy. I was with family. It was not going to happen. So not only did I receive this brochure once, I'd be going along, I'd be coming home from a hospital or rehab, and there the brochure is in my mailbox twice. I'm like, oh my goodness. So again, in my world, I go to workshop, I do workshops, I travel the country, I'm a vendor or a speaker or both. And my competition is there at this particular conference soon after the brochure incident. And everyone is always very nice at a conference. And I see him walk over to me and he says, how you doing, Karen? I said, I'm fine. So I can't stop. I said, well, what are you working on? He said, oh, well, we did this great big mailing. It was a lot of money, a lot of flash. We sent out gazillions of these brochures. And my heart, I'm thinking, I am losing ground. I'm not doing my work well. This is not good. So I said, well, how did it work out? And I was waiting. I steeled myself. I was waiting for the answer. And he said, it didn't. It was a waste of time. Waste of time. I thought waste of time for him. This was a waste of time for me. I wasted my time for months worried about that. I didn't need it. So next slide, please. We do not want to worry what other people are doing right now. Don't worry about it. You have your own path of getting to your goal. You want to be free of the worry so you can see things coming towards you. That is something of an opportunity. There are many worries as there are people. If I spoke to all the 73%, each person would have a different worry. Every one of us. Worries, and I want to emphasize this, worries pass, both that short-term and long-term worry, they pass. They go away. What we don't want to do is replace them with a new worry. And right now, those of you who are possibly looking for work and you're worried about that there's such a high unemployment, well, if you are worried about looking for work, you're not looking for work. What you want to do is make sure you're getting into your local one-stops, make sure you're branching out and sending those resumes, all right? We don't want to spend our time worrying. Worry is a waste of time. Nothing good comes from worry, no solutions to every problem, no answers to any questions. We don't need to worry. Okay, it does not bring any results to any situation. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to put worry away. Next slide, please. Okay, number one, this is my favorite. I use this all the time. We're going to put a time limit, or a limit, don't know what that is. We're going to time limit on worry. Let's say, okay, let me give you an example. Alrighty. Sometimes when you have work and you have a business and you finish a project and you're going to get paid for the project and you have to pay a vendor, in the perfect world, both of them happen at the same time. You're paid, you pay the vendor, the world is great. But most of the time that does not happen. But I don't worry. I say, I'm going to worry about this issue. We could do this together. Worry this next Tuesday. So by the time next Tuesday comes, that worry has cleared up. It's all been taken care of. So we want to put a time limit on worry. This works. I'm telling you, the more you do this, the more it gets easier. Because again, we need this free time. We need this free time to find out, what we want to do next, or where to go look next, or don't want to miss the opportunities that are happening, and they are happening. Okay, the next one is we worry with a time limit. Well, some people like that. Some people will put maybe the timer on and let me do worry for 15 minutes. To me, that doesn't work for me because I feel you're feeding the beast, and then it would be 15 minutes of me worrying about an issue, and I'd probably go to 20 or 25, and I'm like, that doesn't work. That may work for you. Put a timer, say I'm only doing this for 15 minutes. Again. All right. You want to, sometimes you want to find out what that worry is tied to. And if you're worried, again, you're not getting that solution. The third thing is we're going to be worry on the shelf, and that's going to happen in the next segment. So as we stay tuned. All right, next slide, please. I'm going to take a sip of water. Oh boy, did we get a couple of these. I'm so worried about you. You probably received a couple of these calls. They're not, best friends don't do this. Great family doesn't do this. These are usually, or they could be part of family that does this. These are the people that love to worry. So when they call you and they say, I'm so worried about you, Karen, and then usually they catch me. I always get the gotcha. They catch me at a time that I say, oh, well, is there something I should worry about? Is something I did or didn't do, or something I missed or didn't call, or what happened? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. This type of person just loves to stir the pot, just loves to make you feel bad. We're not going to let that happen. You're not going to take the bait from this person. What I want you to do, and I want you to say, and you're going to say this nicely. Next slide, please. This is the answer to that statement. Next slide, please. I'm so worried about you, and what you're going to say, thank you so much for worrying about me so I don't have to. End the conversation, get out of the room quicker, off the phone sooner, stop the email, gotta go. You don't need any of that on you. You don't need that worry attack on you. You just keep moving and do it nicely, because the first thing they'll do is get on the phone and say, oh, something's wrong with that Karen. I was worried about her and she just was a little snippy. No, that's not what you're going to be. Just say it nicely and you move forward. Next slide, please. And those people who love to worry, we say those poor darlings, if they didn't worry, they'd have more time. Okay, let's go over what the worry is, and this is what it does, because it's it's a habit. So worry is the great immobilizer, and it is very, very easy to worry. then finding solutions to the worry. Let's say if you're lack of work and you're worried about lack of work and you're looking, it's easy. If you're worried about your weight gain, which we all, what is it now, the COVID-15? Oof, we all know about that. And you're not eating well, okay? Worried about an illness and not taking action to heal or get something looked at, but you'd rather worry about it. It keeps you from moving forward for something new, of course. Keeps us from being present. And guess what? If we're not present and we're worrying, we miss the magic. That serendipity, that chance meeting, that opportunity, it's right there. It's always around us. And worry and complaining are cousins, because I want to tell you, that same person that calls you and tells you, I'm so worried about you, they'll call you the next day and they call with their complaints. And they usually have a lot of complaints. And that we know them so well that we know that they have nothing to complain about. So many people have so many other things, but that's who they are. They're cousins. Very good. The worriers and the complainers. Great cousins. Worry is always our choice. I'd like to stop here for just a minute and give you just something that I've noticed over this last couple of months and on surviving what we've all gone through, whether unemployment or just what we have gone through. I think the medicine or antidote, we want to call it, I think what is the cure for all of this is if you spend some time on being grateful and having gratefulness for just, even if it's one thing a day, because the more we don't stay in the anger or the jealousy or the lack, which is happening right now, or the anger or the fear, the more that you are grateful, what happens is the more life gives you things to be grateful for. And there's so much that we are grateful for. The worries fall away, the anger falls away. You be grateful. Okay. Because those energies of the anger and the frustration, they're all low-level anger energies. Okay. All right. Simply, you can do being grateful. And of course, you've heard of gratitude journals where you do 5 things a day or 5 things a day. You could just start with 1 thing a day. I'm so grateful for. I'm so grateful to. I'm so grateful. That's all. Makes life a heck of a lot better. All righty. Next slide, please. Don't worry, you never have to. I'm giving you the dispensation. You never, ever have to worry. You can yell it. I never have to worry about that again. All right? And I'm just gonna worry, I'm gonna go through this. It robs you of the precious time right now, because that's all we have. Didn't we just have a lot of time on our hands? Oh, if you spent it worrying, you lost that. You lost the ability to see the joy as it enters your life, to see some new opportunity that's coming your way. Bottom line, it robs us of being present. And again, what does it rob us of? We all say it together. Robs us of, we miss the magic. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the new, the second poll question. Do you use visualization in your work or for yourself? And let me tell you what visualization is. That's seeing something in your mind's eye. This is not prayer. This is not meditation. This is like when you were similar as a kid. When you were a child and your parents said you had a nightmare and your parents came in and said, think of something nice. This is what that's similar to. See yourself on the beach, see yourself on the playground. Do you use visualization in your work? This could be very similar to daydreaming. Okay. Okay, excellent. Yes. This is excellent. Oh, wonderful. Okay, well, we want to use this. Thank you. Yes. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide, please. I believe we build a life, not have a life. And visualization is one of those building tools. I get just so excited. Okay, we see athletes crossing the finish line. We see actors getting up and getting their award. We see visualization with healing, used a great deal of stress management. You see yourself clear, clean and clear of cancer-free. Weight loss programs. I recently read about a study that they had teenage girls that were overweight, and they had them visualizing in their favorite store at the rack that was the new size they wanted to be. I thought, oh, that's kind of cool, right? Relationship fixing, that's a tool for visualization. See yourself. I have used that in the past to visualize myself having to go to a particular maybe function that I really wasn't comfortable with. I said, I put that 5-hour limit on it. I smile myself through it, right? You need to see it to be it, right? Oh, let's go to the sound, okay? We are magnets. We are magnets to what our thoughts are. If we live in the negative, what happens? More of the negative. If we live in the positive, what happens is the positive. And it's very good to do this before you go to sleep. Maybe you rest or maybe you daydream before in the morning, whatever is best for you. It builds confidence. And when you're dealing with people who are unemployed, or if you're unemployed, I want you to visualize you going on the interview, getting that work, seeing yourself, seeing that email come in, your start date. That's so important, because the more you're part of your future, you see yourself, the more the future will happen. Guaranteed. Next slide, please. Let's practice now. Remember that little sheet of paper that I asked for a little bit about ago? I'd like you to get that sheet of paper. All right. All right. All right, we have it in our hands. We look at the paper. All right, we're going to sit back in our chairs or on our couches or wherever you are and close your eyes. See ourselves with a big white box in our lap. See ourselves putting the worry into that white box. See ourselves taping that white box. We walk over to a big door. It has a nice gold handle. We open the door. It's kind of like a coat closet, and it has a shelf on the top. And you put the box on the shelf, and you push that box in the back of the shelf. You walk away from the door, you close the door, you lock the door, you open your eyes. If you have put worry on the shelf, I've used this too. Lot of stresses, I would just put a thing in a box, I put it on the shelf, I say I'm leaving that there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a half hour. The rest of my life. I choose not to worry about this ever again. Shout it if you're in the shower, if you don't want to shout it in public, of course. I will not worry about this ever again. I'm going to put this worry in the box. It does not serve me. I don't need it. So, okay, next slide, please. In believing, those of you who deal with youth, you see this on t-shirts, you see this seeing is believing, and believing comes the achieving. It's the truth. Every belief we have, again, we are what we think. When you practice seeing yourself clear of something, going in the right direction, and I have something here that I want to read to you. I couldn't memorize this, so I'm going to read it right from my notes. That teacher should see me now, right? Okay. Belief carries great power. I'm a big proponent. The placebo effect shows us that belief can heal. Belief changes the brain chemistry. This is the key. Belief changes the brain chemistry and brings about immunal, hormonal, and psychological changes throughout the body. Because the body listens to the brain, but the body does not know the reality. So you're creating that new reality of the health, of the new job, of whatever you want to create, the new home. There we go. Okay. Third poll question. Are you looking for new work? Now, even if maybe your boss is it on and you are looking for work, no one is going to see your answers, okay? So this is, and also this is for us to help our people look for work. But are you looking for new work? Magic of all of this. Okay, you work with people that are looking for work or looking, that's fine, that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna run this so that you help others. This is from the Tribe book, and I should have mentioned this in the beginning. Some of this is from the Tribe book, the Worry is from the 4th book, and then there's a lot of in between of just brand new things here. So, okay, next slide, please. Okay, these are the basic W questions that you need to ask to get your new directions for a work search. And this is what we're going to help our people get themselves in the right directions. You need the foundation. Again, we don't have lives, we build our lives. This will keep you clear with your personal goals. Next slide, please. Keeps us on track. Okay, now people say, oh, what kind of question is that? Where do I want to work? This is the foundation setting. This right now, we carry the magic wand here to create what our next life is going to be, our next work is going to be. But if you don't answer these questions correctly in the beginning, you just flounder, okay? When you don't have the answers. Let me give you an example. I live in a beach town, and when I was on one of my unemployments and I was looking for work, I decided that I did not want to go and work in the city, which our city would be Manhattan. It is a very long commute. It's over 2-hour commute from where I live, but the money was always better. And when a lot of us did that when we were when we wanted to commute 4 hours a day. And then you kind of get a little smarter, you go, I like more of a life on top of my work life. So where do I want to work? And here are some examples or some areas, and you can read that, the home, the whatever, the work inside. Some people travel a bit. Now I want to mention on being specific, if all of a sudden you're and you're going to help your people with this too. If they're at an interview and they're at the end of the cycle of interviewing and they have an offer, and during their interviewing process they said that the person that they interviewed said, yeah, it's okay. You said you'd like to work 3 days home, and now that we've all learned that way, and then 2 days in the office, oh, that's fine. Get it in writing. Make sure it's specific, because guaranteed, not guaranteed, but sometimes you get the job that you, or the position you wanted, and you get there and that person that interviewed you is gone. Now you have no grounds to say, well, this is what they were promised. Make sure you get it in writing, or verified email, something that says that this is what you plan, but that was offered and that you accepted. Okay. How do you get there? Are you going to get there by the car, the train, the bus? There's another thing. What are your preferences? How long is that commute? Is it a couple of hours? It's an hour? Maybe it's no commute at all. Maybe it's, go into your home office. Next question, please. Next slide, please. That question, please. Okay. Where do I work when I work there? Is it part-time, flexible, shift work? Again, we're going to get this in writing. What do I wear when I get there? And when you work with people that are unemployed, we want them to open their minds to all kinds of possibilities, because today, again, nothing is black and white. We are open, and we don't even know what new businesses are going to be open, and we want maybe even for them to start a new business. Okay, what will I wear? Uniform, casual clothes, a suit, a mix of styles? Okay, so recently I'm thinking that we're here, I live in New Jersey. Nothing is opened yet. There's, no shopping for the last 80 days of clothing stores. And I'm wondering now, because we've all worked home and we all have our Zoom outfits picked out, will there be a little section like in the store? There's a Zoom tops. Oh, your perfect Zoom top. Like we don't know what that was already, but that may happen. Next slide, please. Who do I work with? Now, we've all had a lot of downtime, that we may not have been where we are in our normal life, normal working, and some of us were laid off or furloughed, and maybe we don't want to go back to what we once did. Maybe we don't want to work with the cast of characters we worked with. Maybe we want to be with children or elderly or young adults or plants or technology or alone. What do you want? You also want a religious aspect to what you work, or a cultural aspect. That's an important question to ask when you're searching. Okay, we're going to put this together, right? We're going to put all our needs together. Next slide, please. Okay, here we go. When do I want to work? Where I want to work with who? When do I want to work with the people I want to work with? There's only one answer to this question. I'll give you some hints. Starts with an N, ends with a W. It's 3 letters. Everyone? Next slide, please. Yep, you got it. We look this again, not only with visualization, this again with looking for work. We do this also affirmations. I am now working in the company I want to work with great people. We work on very, very interesting projects. All in the now. We're going to do this. Next slide, please. Again, being the magnet for our thoughts. Sometimes we work for achievements. We work for the convenience. We work for the sociability. Again, money years ago and still is, it was not the factor. Today it may be more of the factor because we've had this gigantic layoffs, furloughs. So why are you going to go to work? Why are you going to go? What is your real reason? Next slide, please. Okay, what do I want? I believe there's 3 definitions of work. A job is for the money only. A career you go to school for, you apprentice for. A life's work, people think a life's work usually is the artist, the painter, the musician, the rock star. An accountant can be a life's work. A life's work is something you lose yourself in. You may be in your life's work now, that you just love it, that you love what you do. If you could get lost in it for hours. A hobby could be a life's work, if you can make that into a life's work. My own thought was on my second unemployment. Again, twice in 3 years, it was not fun. And the first time I did none of these things, and the second time I became very proactive. But my premise for my work was I wanted something of my own. And, for those of you who are familiar with what I thought, an ice cream stand was what I was going to do. I thought I was going to make coleslaw. I thought that was what I was going to do, but I had no idea that it was going to be books. So you choose which you want. Now, a job is never going to be a life's work. It's not going to be a career. Or it could be it's not a career. A career could be a life's work. But once you know the why of these, that I'm only there for the money, you'll be the model employee. If you know I'm here to get the amount to go back to college or to go and apprentice at something, fine. That's it. The other times that I would be the model employee was when I knew I was leaving a company I didn't want to be in. Oh, I was so perfect. But because I knew, and I would visualize myself, I'm going to get out of here soon, and I know that. So I'm just going to be perfect here. So when you choose that, Also, when people will say to me, well, I don't know what I like. Well, what kind of newsletters do you read? There's things that you get. What do you like? Also, too, you may not be able to be like, oh, you want to be the ball. You can't be the ball player or the professional athlete, but you could work for the team and you surround yourself with what you love. You may not be the opera singer, but you can surround yourself by working in the opera. What is it you love? This is a very good question to ask yourself too, if you're going to retirement, of where you want to go, who do you want to surround yourself with, why you want to do it, and what you want to do during that. You want to get a little job, stay in your career, or follow the life's work. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I did. I'm running into next slide, please. Alrighty, we have put, in closing, we have put worried on the shelf. We don't want to miss the next opportunity. We want to help others to put the worry away. It's not going to help you with anything. It is a habit that can be broken. You know how a smoking habit, sometimes I have an elastic band around your wrist. You could, every time you start to worry, you could snap that rubber band. That's hurtful. You don't really want to do that. We don't want to miss the opportunity. We can continue to utilize, but visualize, to utilize visualization to get comfort in our futures. The more you help others do this, especially since so many of you do this already, and you help others see their way through and see themselves in a better place, the more that mind and the future come together. We're going to use the 5 W questions to keep in line to what we really want to get. We don't want that 4-hour commute a day, so why are you sending the resumes into the city? And it was very interesting that one of, again, doing this before I ever did this, I had a 150-mile commute and 75 miles one way, but it was bad traffic, and I said, I don't want to ever do that. And I found a startup company that was 4 miles from where I lived. It was a medical startup company, and I was their director of marketing for a little bit. It was a 4-mile commute. Put in more hours, of course, but that was fine. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you. I hope you gained some great tips. And next slide, please. And those of you who are unemployed or looking, you will work again. There's never, in all the times I've ever done this or worked in this, it's no, someone came up to me and said, you know, I never went back to work. No, you will go back to work, but let's get something you really love. So, you know, working is not a death sentence. Working is being creative. Now, if you have any, you should do things you love, not being creative, but it is being creative. Okay, here are the books again. This is my email in case you want to ask me any questions about anything. And again, I'll be picking those winners out soon and offering the books to you also. And last slide, please. Okay, we're there. Now we're time for questions. That's what I said, 45 minutes. Here we go. Kevin, do you have questions?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for what I think was an inspirational piece today. A lot of great life nuggets, Karen, that you gave us today, and I want to personally and professionally thank you for that. I'd like to also once again thank all of our sponsors, for which this would not be possible if it weren't for them. John, can you tell us if we've got any questions that have come in? We'd like to see if there are any questions that we can have to share with Karen at this point.
Currently, right now, we just had a question come in. This question is, can we have your website address and email address?
Okay, let's go back to the last slide then. Kevin, just last slide. There we go. That's everything.
We'll also type that in here for everybody.
There are chapters of each of the books, so that if you guys want to read a chapter, they're on the website. They are sold in bulk. They're sold, also there's email, they're in email, and now we just did gift sets. So they come wrapped in shrink wrap, and you can put a label on them, and there we be.
Awesome. And so you just had an additional question that was, where can we get the books? And I believe you just answered that on your website. You have another question that is, are these books on Amazon, and do you have a digital format?
Yes, I do. Just go to the website. They're all on the website in ebook form. You just go to the book that you want, and it'll give you the list of the different ebook providers.
Excellent. And so let's check
And yes,
out.
on Amazon. Yes, on Amazon. Yes, of course.
Perfect.
Everything's on Amazon.
Well, I think for right now, that is all of the questions. So I will pass it back to Kevin. And again, thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I appreciate it.
Folks, once again, thanks for being a part of this afternoon. For those of you that are going to continue to be with us today, our next presentation will start at 3 o'clock. That's entitled New to Continuing Education, CE 101. It's going to be presented by somebody that sounds a lot like me and somebody who's a lot better than looking at me, Betty Gardner. So we hope that you have a chance to maybe go get some lunch, check your emails, check your phone messages, and come back and see us. Karen, once again, thank you very much for a great presentation. We hope you have a wonderful day and will join us for the rest of our sessions. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a
Bye-bye.
good day now.